All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's the March 22nd meeting of the Senate Executive Nominations Committee. We have 16 people, and I'm going to get into the meeting. I know everyone's got a heavy schedule, and I'll see if I can get us. First appointments are to the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. We have 5 appointments to that, and we'll start with Elizabeth Betty Buck and Senator Elfreth.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Sarah Elfreth here to enthusiastically endorse the appointment of Betty Buck to the brand new Commission on Alcohol and Tobacco. I don't think Betty's a stranger to many folks here. Certainly when you look at her resume, her impact in my community and across the state is both wide and deep. Betty served as CEO of the Buck Distribution Company for 34 years. It's a family business that she recently sold in the last year that had been in her family for 74 years, and 34 of those she spent as CEO. So she has a long history in this industry. Now she's turned her attention to the nonprofit world, starting a nonprofit in memory of her son. And so I think she's incredibly well positioned to be an expert in this field, and I enthusiastically endorse her appointment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment also.
Senator Riley.
Thank you very much. Betty Buck was a constituent of mine before redistricting allowed her to be a constituent of Senator Elfreth. Betty has been involved with small business in Upper Marlboro, so she's multi-county orientated, articulate, motivated, and would be a great representative on this commission, and I additionally endorse her enthusiastically.
I think you described her well, and anybody that's ever served on EE has seen her in action and knows exactly what you just said.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Jim Rosenbach, I just want to throw in my 2 cents because I've worked with her in Prince George's context, and she is one of those business community leaders extraordinaire in Prince George's, working on all kinds of things to improve our community. And so I'm happy to endorse her enthusiastically as well.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Buck, are you here? Betty?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right.
I don't know why my picture didn't show up, but yes, I'm here.
Okay, well.
And thank you for all the kind words. That was very nice of everybody. I truly appreciate it.
Okay. Anything you'd like to say?
We've had several meetings already of the commission, and of course I know alcohol, and I love being kind of back in the industry. I did miss it over the last few months. It's been almost a year now, and I really enjoy working with the people I had known, and I've learned more about tobacco than I ever thought I needed to know as a non-smoker, but it's been quite interesting, and I really am enjoying it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Yes.
Senator Pinsky?
Yeah, I came on late. I want to apologize. I also want to add my words. Betty has been a stalwart in the community, always been honorable and honest with me. And obviously she's been through many of the alcohol wars, but she's someone I could rely on to get a straight answer from, who was very collaborative. So we all appreciate all of the work she's done during her lifetime. So I want to praise Betty as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Senator Griffith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just say me too. Good to see you, or at least see your name.
Thank you.
Me three.
Senator Peters, me three. Well, as I said, anybody that's been around a while certainly knows her and knows how great a job she has done representing her interest and community's interest. All right, if there's no one else, thank you very much. And we will move on to the next member, appointee, Jeffrey Kelly, Senator Simonaire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to recommend Jeff. Pleasure of working with him over the years. And he's always shown to be very professional, very knowledgeable, and quite frankly, very considerate and kind person. He's worked at the comptrollers for, I believe, almost 2 decades. And previously, before that, he was with the police department in Anne Arundel County and also the fire department. He has a stellar educational background, awards, very active in our community, and highly recommend him. And I look forward to working with him on the commission and dealing with the subcommittee for alcohol. Again, I highly recommend him.
All right, thank you, Senator. Mr. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Senator Seminaire, thank you very much for that. I appreciate the opportunity and the chance to continue working in this career. I began in law enforcement, actually in public safety in 1981, and I've continued it nonstop since then in a variety of different forms. And still learning every day. This is a really interesting field. The regulation of alcohol and tobacco is something else. For most of my career, what I knew that was illegal with alcohol was that you had to be at least 21 to possess and drink it, and bars had to be closed at 2. And now I see with the law books in our offices that there's more laws written about alcohol than any other topic of law. And it's very interesting. So I look forward to continuing my career if it's your will. And I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Senator Feldman?
Yeah, just very quickly, Jeff. One of the topics that is under some discussion these days has to do with, the cannabis industry and, whether it's the current medical program or potentially at some point in the future, a legalization of cannabis. And so, the idea of transferring the regulatory function to the new commission that you're going to be part of, I mean, has there been any discussion yet about that topic, or if you yourself have any thoughts about how that might work? I'm interested in that response.
Senator Feldman, thank you. Yes, sir, there's been a lot of discussion. Probably 5 or 6 years ago was the first time the General Assembly even introduced the idea. I was on the way home one night late and I heard it on the radio and I couldn't believe it. Read all about it, and I saw that this, as a package, would probably then be coming to the comptroller and specifically to field enforcement, which I was the director of. I've been following it every year since then. It does feel like it's something that's getting closer and closer to happening in Maryland. Internally, we discuss it routinely. I'd say this year we've gotten into even more discussions with it, specifically, and maybe even more so with the Medical Cannabis Commission, just to get a sense of what they have on board, what kind of regulations they have. And I think something else that helps me out is I'm the immediate past president of a group called the National Conference of State Liquor Administrators. It's a national organization of everybody that does what I do here in Maryland across the country. Many of these states that now have cannabis have put the cannabis regulation with the alcohol regulator. So these people that I've worked with for years in this organization are already up and running with their cannabis programs. I've already been in touch with them as well to see from what extent we can learn from what they did wrong and what they did right. And again, if they have regulations that work, that are perhaps applied universally. So we've done quite a bit of pre-work on this, just with the expectation that we don't want to be caught off guard if this should be something that is legalized and then even more so assigned to the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. That was what I was looking to get something from.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, President Ferguson.
There we go. Thank you, Senator. Mr. Kelly, it's great to, am I on mute again? No, I think I'm okay.
You're good.
Thank you for being here. And I know we were trying to set up a meeting at some point. I'm curious, just in a very quick summary, how you're feeling the transition to the commission has gone. Obviously, a brand new function. Has it been a radically different, or are you seeing a lot of the sort of same processes just in a different format?
What's happened? I'd say it's in many ways the same processes, but the reason I think that's happened is we were able to enter in with agreement from you, Mr. President, enter into a memorandum of understanding between the Office of the Comptroller's Field Enforcement Bureau and the Field Enforcement Division of the ATC, which there's a lot of things to consider, like geography. Very simply, you need people just to cover the geography of Maryland, which is a little bit difficult for each organization to do on their own. But in joining forces through this MOU, we have very much the same kind of people doing the same kind of work spread out across the state in very much the same manner. And our goal, and I think our results so far, have been to make it as seamless as possible for the industry. From their perspective, they're getting their calls answered. They're getting the services they need. They're getting a place to file their reports and their complaints, and places to get their licenses renewed. So I think from the industry standpoint, it's worked very well. And I think considering it's a brand new organization and everything that brings, it's done a pretty good job of standing itself up also.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. All right, let's move on to Eric Morrissette and Senator Rosenbach.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to say that I've known Mr. Morrissette for a lifetime, and he has a terrific experience. I can't say the first because I just met him, but I can say the second. As you look at his resume, he has the breadth of experience in policy, in regulation, in finance that I think brings to this commission an important perspective. When we set up the commission, we wanted a diversity of skills, and I think he brings that to us. And I know from talking with him is very committed to the mission. So with that, I strongly endorse his nomination.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Mr. Morrissette.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Thank you so much for taking the time to consider my nomination. I'd also like to thank my Senator Rosenberg, for his generous introduction and for just being a wonderful representative for our community. I would also like to thank the governor for the nomination and for the commission, the other commission members for their tireless work and stewardship throughout the creation of this new commission. I came to the commission through the urging of my fiance, who has been a fervent believer in finding ways to leverage our discrete experiences to help our community, while her focus has been on juvenile and family issues, which allowed her to serve on the state advisory board. My experiences are uniquely related to banking and economic analysis, and somehow she's helped me find a way to kind of leverage those unique experiences into something which I hope will be helpful to the state that I love and care deeply about. I don't smoke or drink, but I find these issues uniquely fascinating and interesting to work on, and I'm eager to delve into it with my fellow commission members if I'm able to advance through confirmation. As a congressional staffer, I think that I've learned firsthand the importance of collaborative work and learning from a diverse and engaged group of people who are experienced with their work and understanding of a range of issues. And I look forward to leaning on all of you as I try to take on this new endeavor and delve deeper into serving the community that I know and love.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions or comments for Mr. Morrissette? If not, looks like you're getting off easy. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We will move to Robert Poole, Senator Riley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Poole lives in the shadow of the Bay Bridge, the Whitehall section of Cape St. Clair area. He has a very interesting factoid on his resume that coming out of the University of Maryland with his degree, he went to work for Steny Hoyer for several years. And then he got his promotion to where he spent decades working for the FBI. He seems to be the fixer because every time there's a problem, I think Mr. Poole has been assigned to very specific task force to resolve problems within our country or maybe even within the department. He's not allowed to talk about it because otherwise he'll have to kill me. But I have to share with you that he is a rock solid fellow. He brings federal law enforcement experience to this commission, and I strongly endorse his membership in this commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Poole.
Senator Riley, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Senators, thank you. I'd like to say thank you to Governor Hogan for appointing me to this commission, or at least thus far. I've spent 30 years with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. However, you were right as well, Senator. Most of that career was spent with the FBI in a counterterrorism capacity. I've worked for high-intensity drug trafficking squads in the Washington metropolitan area. I've worked counterterrorism. I've worked for the State Department, et cetera. What I do find, though, is part of my career was dealt. We were regulating the alcohol and tobacco industries from an alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives perspective. So I have a lot of experience in dealing with that from a federal perspective. However, so this is a new challenge for me from a state and local level. So I look forward to the opportunity of serving, and I appreciate your kind comments. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments in regards to Mr. Poole? Apparently not. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll move to Barbara Wall and Senator Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee members. I am honored and pleased to present for your confirmation Ms. Barbara Wall. She's a registered nurse, advanced degree to the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. I believe she brings a needed perspective as we're looking to advance and expand alcohol or use throughout the state and making legislation around that and supporting our businesses. This also needs to have a public health approach. Ms. Wall is currently the Chief Operating Officer of Concerted Care. It has over 1,000 patients and 30 employees. They address residential treatment as well as other substance abuse and mental disorders. She has worked as the Director of Psychiatry with the University of Maryland Medical Center. She's been a psychiatric nurse with Johns Hopkins University. So I do believe these extensive experiences, as well as her leadership skills, will really be an asset to this commission. So again, I look for you to support her, Ms. Wall.
Okay, Ms. Wall.
Thank you so much. Senator Washington, I really appreciate those kind words, and I'm thankful to all of you for this opportunity. I think this is a really important area that perhaps is more complex than we sometimes even look at. So having spent my career in behavioral health care, the alcohol and tobacco impacts have been very, very deeply interwoven. At the same time, I do understand, working for a for-profit business, the importance of the for-profit angle side of the business of alcohol and tobacco. And so I am very, very honored to be able to have an opportunity to be able to help share some information and perspective on these issues and participate as I'm able to.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments for Ms. Wall? Seeing none, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And we will move to the Critical Area Commission for the Chesapeake Bay and Atlantic Bays, and Timothy Adams and Senator Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tim Adams is the president and CEO of a company called System Applications and Technologies, SA Tech. Started it himself in 1989, and now it's a multi-million-dollar business enterprise. He's a graduate of University of New Orleans, where he got his MBA, and he went to Xavier for his undergrad. Numerous awards, and very big donor in the community, both in the county and the state. I worked with him on Bowie State University's foundation when he chaired the foundation, and he took the plunge back in 2019 and ran and won, became mayor of Bowie. So he's one of us. He's got all the headaches we have, and is doing a good job there. And he is married to Sheila Tillerson, and she is the administrative judge of the circuit court. And they have 3 wonderful children. He just had a grandchild. So congratulations to him, and I recommend him for the position. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I just wanted to echo the chair of the Capital Budget's introduction. I am familiar with Mr. Adams and the family from way back, the very musically talented family, in addition to the other accolades, and certainly aware of his work with the Business Roundtable in Prince George's County as well, and just wanted to add my comments to those of the senator from District 23. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Adams.
I'd just like to say thank you so very much for the opportunity to serve on the Critical Area Commission. I've been engaged with our community and understanding the impact that our open spaces in our waterfront, and just making sure that we keep the Chesapeake alive, how important that is. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Adams? Senator Benson. You have to unmute.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. You know, I just could not let this moment pass without telling you all how wonderful Mr. Timothy Adams has been for the citizens and children in particular of Prince George's County. He has just been a tremendous asset to Bowie State University. And he doesn't do this to get a pat on the back. He does it because he is a public servant and he has the resources to make things happen for the good of the people of Prince George's County. But he just doesn't have the reputation in Prince George's County. He has a statewide reputation of just getting the job done, and he does it with an unselfish and wonderful heart. I could go on and on talking about this wonderful, wonderful public servant. He is so unselfish, and I really love the fact that he looks out for those who are homeless, hopeless, and helpless, those who are in need. I could call him, and he always responds to the needs of the citizens in our districts. And I just want him to know that I love him, I appreciate him, have the utmost respect for what he does for the citizens, for the children in particular, Prince George's County.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone else? If not, thank you very much. And we will move to the State Board of Education and Chuen Chin Bianca Chang. And Senator Hester.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Esteemed members of the committee. For the record, Senator Katie Fry Hester, honored to represent District 9, Carroll and Howard counties. I'm proud to be here today to introduce Ms. Bianca Chang to the Maryland State Board of Education. Ms. Chang is a registered nurse and senior clinical informatics analyst at the Howard County General Hospital and a member of the Johns Hopkins Medicine in Columbia, Maryland. Throughout her career, Ms. Chang has served as Vice President of the Association of Chinese Schools, President of the National Council of Association of Chinese Language Schools, as well as a principal for the Chinese Language School of Columbia, one of the best. In addition to caring for others during her 30 years as a nurse, Ms. Chang is deeply committed to public service. She serves as the Vice Chair of the Howard County Human Rights Commission Community Liaison, board member of the Community Advisory Council to the Howard County Board of Education, and interpreter for the Foreign Born Information Referral and Network Service, FERN. Thank you, Ms. Chang, for your commitment to public service. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the members of the Executive Nominations Committee.
Mr. Chairman, can I, Senator Lamb,
Yes,
can I chime in too? Yeah, I've known Ms. Chang for many, many years. She's just been a staple and a community leader in Howard County, and as Senator Hester mentioned, done so many things on behalf of the community and really cares about education and kids. And so, I think, no shortage of accolades for her nomination to the State Board of Education, and really reflective of the diversity that we continue to see here in the state as well. So my pleasure to be able to second her nomination.
Thank you. Ms. Chang?
Hi, Ms. Chairman Yang and Vice Chairman Chairwoman Bill. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to present myself. And thanks for Senator Hester and Senator Lamb to introduce me. And I would like to say something that I've been living in Maryland over 30 years. I raised 3 boys through Howard County Public School systems. I know it's a great investment for my children in their education. So we've been, my husband and I, we participate in schools, events, programs, and try to make our school better, not just for our own, but for the entire community and students. And I would like to take this great opportunity to expand, like I did for the world language, especially in Mandarin, and preserve the language and culture and push it a little bit further. And during the pandemic, it is really tough for the school. However, we being nonprofit organization, we were able to lead the force and offer a lot of online courses for our teachers, for our students to continue their education through weekends. And that's what we are proud of. And last year, I even being the president, I even be able to do an online conference to grab teachers all around the world to join our conference, and also have our first annual students competition online. And I was thinking that will spike some interest and an enthusiasm for any children, any students who want to learn more, especially during the difficult and challenging time. And I would like to see if any question that I can answer to. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions or comments for Ms. Chang? If not, Hun House, yes, yay.
Thank you so much. You did well, very well.
Thank you.
谢谢.
All right. We will move on to Warner Ivan Sumter and Senator Carozza.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. This is Senator Mary Beth Carozza, for the record, representing Worcester, Wycomico, and Somerset counties. And I'm actually very humbled to introduce my constituent, General Warner Sumter, and to wholeheartedly support his reappointment to serve on the Board of Education. Throughout his entire public service career at every level, county, state, and national, General Sumter has served with honor and distinction as a member of the Somerset County Board of Education, the state of Maryland, and in the United States of America. I first met General Sumter in 2003 during our service together during Governor Bob Ehrlich's administration, where Warren Sumter was the commanding general of the Maryland Army National Guard and the chairman of the governor's Emergency Management Advisory Committee. I do want to note that his final military assignment in 2004 was when General Sumter was activated for service under Operation Noble Eagle in support of the global war on terrorism. I also wanted to note Warren Sumter's over 20 years with the Maryland State Police, and he has also served as a volunteer firefighter. General Sumter has had a long-term commitment to quality education. He has served as a member of the Somerset County Board of Education for years, including 2 stints as chairman at the local level. He was also president of the Maryland Association of Boards of Education from October 2015 to 2016. His awards are too numerous to list, but I do want to point out to my colleagues that he has been awarded the Maryland Distinguished Service Cross Medal 3 times. So it is an honor to introduce General Sumter and to support his reappointment to serve on the State Board of Education. You're on mute.
Yes.
Yes,
I
General
want to
Sumter.
thank you so very much. I want to thank you so very much, Senator Carozza, for those very kind remarks. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity in the past, and I hope you will extend that again to serve the children of Maryland. It's been a really heartwarming thing late in my life to find myself in the education arena, but I find it extremely, extremely gratifying. And I've really enjoyed all my time at all levels. But it's really best when you see the children and meet with them and understand what we do for them every day, especially right now with the pandemic we're facing. And for what you do and your support for education over these many years, for all of you on the in the Maryland Senate, I thank you for your kindness and your attention to public education. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from General Sumter? Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, President Ferguson.
Thank you. And thank you, General Sumter. I am deeply appreciative of your service, both to the country and state. Just a general question, as you're the only reappointed member of the board this evening. Would you say over the pandemic that the State Board of Education provided enough guidance, too little guidance, too much guidance, or just the right amount of guidance for school districts as the reopening plans were moving forward?
Well, like all of us, this was a very unusual new endeavor. And we tried to work collaboratively with the local boards of education as we developed the guidance and followed the CDC guidance and guidance within our own state with our Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And so as it was very fluid, and we came out with plans last spring, and then we have adjusted as we have learned and heard from the stakeholders, the teachers, the local boards of education, and others. And we've tried to give the locals and the systems exactly what they need to be successful in educating their children. Was it too much or too little? It depends on who you spoke to on any given day. But I think what we gave was adequate, and we would, the more important thing, we engaged and explained what our guidance was.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we will move to Dr. Holly Wilcox and Senator Carter. Senator Carter.
Mr. Chair, I don't see Senator Carter here, but I'm glad to step in her stead if that would be helpful. A former colleague, Dr. Wilcox, is just the penultimate professional, has been focused on children and youth and mental health crises, and really providing resources and studying what are best practices, evidence-based best practices to really make sure that kids can thrive, particularly those who suffer from really challenging issues. And so she is a phenomenal professional, will be a great asset to the State Board of Education, and strongly support her nomination.
Very good. Dr. Wilcox.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all so much for having me and for your service to our state. As Senator Ferguson mentioned, I've spent my career in children's mental health in this field. I am also co-chair of the Governor's Commission on Suicide Prevention, where we closely have been monitoring our suicide data in our state on a pretty much monthly basis all through COVID, meeting, looking at the data, figuring out where we could make improvements. And although as a state, our suicide rate has declined about 14% among older adults, and among 10 through 17-year-olds, we could do better. And one way to reach young people is in a natural setting without stigma, like schools. And so I am the one member of the school board who's really focused on trying to help us out of this pandemic on footing that will really be helpful for thinking about mental health and how to get them back to school in a situation that's better than we have now. And so that's just a few words about myself, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions for Dr. Wilcox? Comments?
Senator Eckhart has a question.
Okay. Oh, up there in the corner, Senator Eckhart.
Thank you very much. Not so much a question, but it's good to see you, Holly, and work together on the Governor's Commission on Suicide. But I'm so excited that you're there and will become a part of this group, because, as you know, don't you believe that there are ways to integrate kind of developmental strategies that will be able to promote positive mental health, so we don't get into the situations where we then have to deal with the distress of mental illness. So wouldn't you agree with that? And I look forward to working with you. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure to work with you, and I appreciate you speaking up. And my attitude is to try to get upstream, even though I'm involved in helping with crises and the crisis system in the state. In an ideal world, we would be upstream and be able to identify students early and get them the supports that they need to be successful academically. And you can't really be all that successful academically in many cases unless your mental health is intact and in place. So I'd love to thank you, and I'd love to take any additional questions or comments.
Are there any other questions or comments? Apparently not. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Pinsky, were you? looking to say something? No? Okay, we will move on to Jason Wu and Senator Feldman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a real thrill to introduce this very impressive young man, Jason Wu, who's nominated to be the student member of our Maryland State Board of Education.
Oh, wow.
Jason right now currently, looking for him. Oh, there he is. Okay, he's here. Currently a student at Poolesville High School in Montgomery County, where he is the class president. He is an AP scholar with honors, National Honor Society, participates on the debate team, speaks multiple languages, task force member on the Maryland High School Graduation Task Force, and a whole bunch of other amazing stuff on his resume. And so again, I think he's going to make an excellent addition to our State Board of Education as its student member. And with that, Mr. Chair, I would strongly recommend this nominee.
Okay, Jason Wu, I just saw you. There you are. Would you like to say something?
Yes, thank you for the introduction, Senator Feldman. I'd like to thank Chair Young and members of the Executive Nominations Committee for your time here today, and Governor Hogan for the appointment as student member of the Maryland State Board of Education. I've been a lifelong Maryland resident and student of Montgomery County Public Schools, and I'm beyond grateful for the opportunity to serve my peers in my community on the board. It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions of Jason? Apparently not. Xie Wan Sheng Hao. And we will move to the Ethics Commission and get this right, Janelle Thames and Senator Casserly. Senator Casserly here? If not, and
He was earlier. I guess he signed off.
okay, is our appointee here? Oh, there we go. Would you like to say a little about yourself and any comments you might have, Ms. Thames?
Yes, thank you for having me, Chair. It's Janaea Thames. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
My French is not good.
Yes, and it is difficult to pronounce when you see it spelled, so I completely understand. I've had the honor of serving on the State Ethics Commission now since 2019. A little bit of background about myself. I am general counsel and the assistant vice president of Hartford Mutual Insurance Company. I also serve as the director of compliance and the secretary with direct reporting to the board on all matters involving ethics, corporate governance, and corporate compliance. In the 2 years that I've been working with the commission, I have to say it's been an honor. It is good work, it is important work, and if we do our job, you never know who we are. So I think that that means we're doing what we're supposed to do for the state of Maryland. I look forward to being able to continue to serve with the approval of this committee.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments for Ms. Thames? Apparently not, so thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we will move to the Healthcare Commission and Mark Jensen and Senator Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It is a pleasure to nominate and support Mr. Mark Jensen. He is probably not a stranger to many of you, has a long history of public service and service in the healthcare community. As a former chair of the board for the Maryland Hospital Association, has served on the board of numerous hospitals in the Baltimore region, and is the co-founder of Bowie and Jensen, the law firm. And most importantly, I think, if none of that matters, he is a 3-time national champion world Taekwondo leader. So, if these hospital rates don't get right, just watch out for Mr. Jensen. He's coming with the right hook. So, with that, I strongly endorse Mr. Jensen for his appointment.
Thank you, Mr. President, and Mr. Jensen.
Well, thank you for those kind words, Senator Ferguson. I'd like to thank the committee and Governor Hogan for the nomination and for the time. I have spent a great deal of time, over 20 years now, in hospital governance and policy, My focus has been on quality and patient safety, and I really appreciate the opportunity and the nomination here. I think the Healthcare Commission would allow me to take that experience and then from a different side, which is the state side. I've also done some work with payers in the healthcare field. So this would sort of round it out, and I think it'd be exceptionally interesting. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Jensen? If not, thank you very much for being here. And I am gonna make a skip because of someone that has to leave. So we'll do the University System of Maryland Board of Regents and Robert Wallace under Hayes.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of Executive Nominations Committee. It is with great honor to have an opportunity to introduce Mr. Bob Wallace. I was a little disappointed a couple weeks ago. I saw his name on the agenda being appointed to the Maryland Economic Development Committee, which is a statewide committee, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But today, we're here to present him as a board member for the Maryland Board of Regents. This is a reappointment for Mr. Wallace. He is an extraordinary entrepreneur that came from very humble beginnings and have started not one, not two, but 3 companies and is very knowledgeable in a technology field. And so, you know, one of his greatest accomplishments among all of the boards and commissions that he sit on is being, you know, a very honorable and respectable dad. And so without further ado, I humbly introduce and nominate for you guys, Bob Wallace.
All right, thank you, Senator. Mr. Wallace.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate you. My apologies. I am actually out of the country right now doing some mission work. So my apologies to you, but I'm glad that we could connect. One of the things I've been really strong about, committed to, is education. And I think that education can solve a lot of our problems that we have in our state, can make our state a much better place. And I think the Board of Regents provides that opportunity at a broad level, at a broad scale. And I'm delighted that the governor saw fit to nominate me once again to the Board of Regents. And I look forward to it, and I would like your support.
All right, thank you. Any comments or questions for Mr. Wallace? Apparently not, so good luck and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, God bless.
And we will move on to the Maryland Higher Education Commission for our last 3 appointees of the day. And first is Vera Jackson and Senator Benson. Senator, you have to unmute.
Thought I had. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, everyone knows that I am an educator. It's so important that we bring people on board who have a commitment to education. And I think the person that I'm going to introduce possesses those qualities. It is really, really a delight for me to recommend and commend Dr. Vera R. Jackson to serve on the Higher Education Commission for this great state of Maryland. She is a graduate of Howard University. She holds a PhD, but if you look at her resume, and I hope you all will do that, she brings to the table a wonderful, wonderful background. She has had experiences and serves in many leadership capacities that suits her well to serve on this Higher Education Commission. She understands and has worked very closely in the field of epilepsy, renal disease. She has worked also very closely with the historical Black colleges and universities. She's an educator. She's taught adult learners. She is a well-learned author. She has produced manuals, and she writes books, and she has done just an outstanding job of being a community leader. I am very, very pleased to present to her this evening for your recommendations, to also give her a favorable, outstanding report. And I look forward to working with Dr. Jackson in this very important field, because I do understand without fail that the education of our youngsters is the way up and out. And I think that Dr. Jackson brings, as I said, to the table the background and the experiences that will move our higher education institutions upward and outward. And so with that,
Right.
it pleases me to introduce Dr. Vera R. Jackson.
Thank you, Senator Benson. And Dr. Jackson.
Thank you so much. And Senator Benson, it's a pleasure to have been introduced by you and esteemed members of this committee. Thank you so much for the opportunity to greet you. I am excited because I've had the chance to have Senator Benson introduce me once before for my first appointment to the Maryland Higher Education Commission. And Senator Benson, my husband told me to tell you he misses seeing you at the Sports and Learning Center since the pandemic. So
I miss being there.
But I want you to know how important this role is to me. As Senator Benson has mentioned, higher education is very important to me. As you can see, I have my terminal degrees, and I continue to try to be a lifelong learner in every aspect of it, in terms of research, in terms of my own personal study, but also in terms of mentoring and coaching others to do the same. I've had the pleasure of being a part of MHAC for the last few years, and I hit the ground running. I actually became the chair of the Outreach and Financial Aid and Scholarship Committee of MHAC, and really wanted to make sure that we were promoting the great work that MHAC and the state of Maryland is doing it in a way that would reach all segments of our communities. And so I would love to be able to serve in this role again, because I believe that I have so much more to offer. And it's been a real pleasure to work with others who are equally devoted to Maryland and the higher education system. So thank you so much. And I hope to have a chance to serve again.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? If not, thank you very much for being here. Good luck. And we'll move to Donna Mitchell, and I think Vidal is going to introduce.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Lee is very sorry she can't be here tonight to introduce Ms. Mitchell, but she is in her committee voting. So she writes a little message for me. Ms. Mitchell received her bachelor's from Howard University, Master's of Arts in Counseling and Psychology from Bowie State University, and Master's in Business Administration from Southeastern University. She is president of Destiny Management Services and served as a managing partner of DMS-RMW joint venture, vice president of Health Management Resources Incorporated, and in top positions at other companies. She has a strong background in finance, accounting, procurement, and contract compliance. Ms. Mitchell would now like to continue to serve in the Maryland Higher Education Commission, and Senator Lee highly recommends her. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, for the nomination opportunity to be nominated again. I've served on the Maryland Higher Education Commission for the last 6 years. And during that time, I have, I guess, risen to the position of vice chair of the commission. And I also serve as the chairman of the finance committee. We have done a lot of work in terms of aligning the universities and ensuring their compliance. I look forward to continuing my work with MHAC. It's a great organization. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to continuing to serve under great Dr. Felder, who's a wonderful, wonderful person as well as a leader. So I thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Ms. Mitchell? Apparently not, so thank you very much for being here this evening. And our appointee of the evening is Dr. Craig Williams and Senator Rosenbach.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm very excited about this appointment for two reasons. One, because early in the Hogan administration, I got to know Craig very well when he was chief of staff, and found him to be one of the most constructive, cooperative, collaborative, and innovative gubernatorial chiefs of staff that I've had the opportunity to work with since I've been in the legislature. I mean, he's a class act. He knows what he's doing. He gets stuff done. Real contribution. But the second reason is because the higher education market is changing dramatically, as we all know. The traditional small liberal arts colleges are going out of business left and right. Online education is booming. Corporate higher education is booming. And with all, say it diplomatically, I've not found the Maryland Higher Education Commission on the cutting edge of innovation. And I have great expectations that Craig, knowing his interest in these issues, his understanding of the changing economy, the changing marketplace, will be a champion of getting MHEC into the conversation about the changing landscape of higher education. With that, I strongly endorse his nomination.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for the opportunity. And thanks Senator Rosenbach for his very gracious comments. I thank the committee for your consideration and for the governor for his support for this position. As you've heard from other nominees for MHEC, I think it's an important function in state government. There's a lot of opportunity to advance interest for students, student access, student success, and innovation. My experience with the state, with 2 administrations in public and private sector, I hope position me for your favorable consideration. Happy to answer any questions and thank you.
Okay, are there any questions for Dr. Williams? Apparently not, so thank you very much for being here. And Senator Rosenbach, I'm happy to say that both liberal arts colleges in Frederick are growing.
They are, that's great.
Yes, okay. That is the agenda this evening for the hearings we're having. I guess first off, is there anyone that has anyone, either from those that appear that haven't, that they want questioned or pulled for the agenda for any reason? If not, Senator Bidle, I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion that we accept all the nominations that were presented tonight and all the statewide that were not presented tonight.
Go ahead.
Second.
All right. Any discussion or final questions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And thank you all for being here, and meeting's adjourned.